Welcome back to the darkroom. It's been a while, but I'm starting to make some more videos again. Today we are going to mount a print to some MDF that I have pre-cut and pre-painted the edges black. This is 3/8, just medium fiber board, whatever, it's MDF, pretty cheap. So we are going to use some glue, some spray adhesive. I'm going to try out this Elmer's Craft Bond. It's just a spray adhesive, it's acid free, so I figure that should work. And once we have the print glued to the MDF, we are going to cover that in this 2-part epoxy resin from, well, it's from Art Resin. I found that in the local store here, the local art store. It's actually really kind of neat. It has no or hardly any odor. You just mix it 1-to-1, you pour it on. It takes 24 hours to set and 72 hours to actually harden, but it should work. The first time I tried it, it was a brutal disaster. So this is trial number 2. So let's get started here. First we're going to cut down my print. We're going to cut the white edges off so that it fits better on this piece of wood. So got my trusty ruler here, very sharp blade, and we're just going to cut her down to size just a little bit. There we go. Other side. Doesn't have to be exact just yet because I have cut the MDF just about 1/8 of an inch smaller around the outside is what I needed. So that way when I'm going to glue that on here, we're going to have a bit of a reveal around the outside, and then once the glue is set in a day or so, we'll just trim the edges off. So now that this is cut nicely, I'm going to put that aside, put my ruler away, put my cutting mat away. Grab here a piece of cardboard. Some stuff for me to spray on. Alright. Piece of wood. Shake this up good. Shit. I think you have to shake it for a few minutes. Alright. That should be good. The first time I did this, I don't think I put enough glue on, and the print started to lift from the corners. So that was kind of disappointing. So what I found with this stuff, more is better. All right. Probably doesn't help that the MDF will suck all the paint up. When I said more is better, I meant it. All right. Now. Use a couple of pieces of wood. Probably like this. Kind of the advantage of mounting prints this way though is that you can have a print any size or any shape, and you know, when you buy picture frames, you're always kind of stuck with whatever size of frame you can get, and then you have to kind of fudge it. So this is kind of a cool way of doing it. Alright, see if I can do this. Yep. Now, use an old print that didn't work out. Put that over top. That way I can put lots of pressure on her. Get her stuck down good. Especially on the edges. We don't want this to come off. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. See, it's never straight because I'm not perfect, but we have overhanging edges everywhere, so should be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this dry for, this glue does take forever to dry too, so the other ones I left dry for about a week, so, but at least a day I found is probably alright. That way if it does start to curl up on the edges, we're not completely euchred. Alright, so what are we going to do next? Well, I've been smart. I've made one that we got to trim the edges. By the way, this black paint that I just used just some black acrylic. One coat seems to do really well. So we're going to clean this up here first. We're going to get back to good old cutting mat here. Take the print that I made, lay her down. And what we're going to do is we're going to just cut the edges. A good sharp knife makes all the difference. I'll cut all like leftwise here so you guys can see. Not like you don't know how to cut with a knife. I do remember this blade being a little bit sharper. It still seems to work out right though. Okie dokie. Last edge. Perfect. Okay. Get rid of the garbage. Okay, we'll put this mat back away. Now we're going to get into the messy part. This isn't really straight anymore. And we'll use this cardboard. And we'll use a couple of blocks of wood. There, like so. That way she floats. And we can work on it easier. The one thing with the resin product is you got to make sure that your work surface is all nice and level. If it's not level, all the resin's going to run off the edge. and that's not good. So, okay, so we know that this is an 11 by 14 print, I believe. Yeah, close enough. It was an 11 by 14 print before I cut it. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go use the good old Googler, and we're gonna go to the Art Resin website. It's just artresin.com/calculator, and then we can calculate how much resin we're actually gonna need. So length, 11 inches. Width, 14. Calculate in inches, 158 milliliters. So let's make that a round number, 160. So it means we need 80 milliliters of part A and 80 milliliters of part B. Cool. The way that I usually measure this, or usually the second time that I've ever done this. So the way that we're going to measure this the second time around, same as what I did the first time around when it was a horrible failure. We're going to just use some paper cups. Put this away. We're just going to use some paper cups. This stir stick, always good to have. You guys can't see me anymore. 80 mil. So, what I do is I'm going to pour 80 mil of water in one of these cups. There. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put these cups nice and closely together. Nice and closely together. So what we're going to do then is we're just going to eyeball it. I mean, you can do it whichever way you like. You should really put something under this. We don't want this to get all dirty. So. Just use this cardboard, just get all the glue on it. Okie doke. So. Stir it out by pouring. Perfect. A little bit more. That's good. That looks good. Okay. Other part. There's probably an easier way to do this. But this actually works for me. So, there we go. Part A, part B. Water to the side. Use this pretending to be clean rag here to wipe my hands. Okay, so what I probably should have done. Put on some gloves. Where's the thumb? Oh, this is gonna get interesting yet. Don't worry. All right, so mixing. We're gonna go ahead and mix part A to part B. And you want to mix this for 3 minutes, they say. I'm gonna attempt to get it all in the cup. And once it's mixed, after 3 minutes, you have a 45-minute working life, I guess. So, there. She's in there. Mix for 3 minutes. We'll use the good old timer here. So, this will be interesting to watch for the next 3 minutes, eh? There's bubbles coming out of this. You don't have to worry about the bubbles that form in here because later we're going to play with some fire. And we're going to torch the bubbles right off. That really is the fun part about this whole thing. Who doesn't like playing with fire? Yeah. No odor, or just a slight hint of one. Not too bad though. All right. So, we're done mixing. So, we're going to grab our print. Grab our print, we're going to suspend it on some blocks of wood. That way it floats off of the surface. There we go. How's that look? Oh yeah. Good stuff. Alright, now we're going to pour this on. And we're going to pour it in such a way it'll stay away from the edges. Man, that's got a lot of air bubbles in it. I don't remember it having that many air bubbles the first time I did this. There it is. Stirring a little more vigorous than normal. So when you're doing this, you can, that's why we have rubber gloves, so we can touch the sides and get it all nice and even. So what we're going to do next is we are going to use the torch right here, and we're going to torch off these air bubbles. Clear as glass. Once all of this is nice and flat and you got it all smoothed out and you got all the little stuffs out of it, you can just run your fingers along the edges where it's overflowing, and that way, you know, you minimize the number of drips, because the drips are really gonna, I mean, they're gonna be really hard drips. I think we still have some air bubbles, so we'll use a torch again for a minute. That's hard to do with gloves on. Probably not smart either. I think that got her. All right, so now we're going to cover it up, clean up all of our stuff. Alright, so I hope you guys got something out of this. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit more entertaining for everyone. I mean, I'm not an expert at using resin. I mean, this is only the second time that I've done it, and the only resin I've ever used is the art resin. So, and the first time I did it, it was a complete cluster. I mean, it didn't work because the glue didn't stick. So, I did some experimenting with the glue, and I found out that more is better. So if you guys have any comments or recommendations for different types of glue, please leave them in the comments down below. Or if you have any other suggestions on how to do this, let me know, because, you know, I could use some advice every once in a while. I mean, Google is great, but it doesn't tell me everything. yeah, more videos to come. We'll hopefully see you soon. Thanks for watching.